Country Cousin, City Cousin by Clark Foley. Part 1. Rosa Visits the City. In July, I was really excited about visiting my cousin Ernesto and his family in New York City. The Big Apple. I pictured us riding a limousine along Park Avenue, sitting in box seats at a New York Yankees baseball game, shopping on Fifth Avenue, admiring art masterpieces in the Guggenheim Museum, and eating at fancy restaurants. When I arrived, things were not exactly the way I imagined. First off, my cousins don't live in Manhattan, which is the New York I've seen on television. They live in Brooklyn, which is a borough, kind of like a suburb of the city. My cousin Ernesto did not seem interested in leaving Brooklyn. Ernesto, his mom, my Tia Maria, shook her head at him. Be a good host and tour guide. Rosa didn't come all the way from Pennsylvania to sit around at the pool with your friends. What do you want to do there? He asked. My eyes lit up. I want to do everything, I told him. I want to go to the Guggenheim and shop on Fifth Avenue and eat at a fancy restaurant, maybe go to a Yankees game. At that point, I stopped because Ernesto was laughing. Tia Maria smiled and said, Well, Rosa, there is a lot to do in the city. It can be a bit strenuous. I thought they were both crazy. I couldn't wait to get started. The next morning, we set out right after breakfast. By that evening, I could understand why Ernesto might have had mixed feelings about a day filled with activities in Manhattan. Walking across the Brooklyn Bridge was the best part of the adventure because it was free and the structure was magnificent. Everything went downhill quickly after that. The streets were jammed with noisy traffic, spewing exhaust fumes. People were shoving and bumping into us on the sidewalks, and there was trash everywhere. It was so different from my home in Pennsylvania countryside. We did make it to the Guggenheim Museum, which is way uptown. It took us nearly an hour to find the right subway, catch our train, and make the trip. The subway was loud and grimy. At the museum, I spent 2 hours admiring the art, but then I was hungry, and the price of a meal in an uptown restaurant cost way more than I had imagined. We ended up eating another slice of that delicious New York pizza. For the rest of the week, we mainly played video games in the basement, where it was cool but musty, and hung out with Ernesto's neighborhood friends at the city pool, which stunk of chlorine and burned my eyes. It was okay, but I was glad when my visit ended and I got back home. It is rough living in the city. Part 2. Ernesto Visits the Country. In August, I visited my cousin Rosa and her family all the way out in the country. I was happy because I thought the country would be restful and relaxing. When I arrived, though, Rosa had planned out my entire week. I want to show you a secret cave in the mountains. It's only 2-mile hike up Mount Pine, she said. 2 miles? Up a mountain? I wasn't so sure. I liked taking long walks in the city, but the ground is flat there and we have sidewalks. We can go swimming too, Rosa added. I love to swim, I said. Is there a pool around here? A pool? Oh, no. We swim up at the old quarry. You'll love it. There's a rope swing, and it's so deep that some people say it doesn't have a bottom at all, Rosa said excitedly. I wasn't sure about swimming in an old quarry, especially one with no bottom. Rosa was also super excited to take me horseback riding at their community stables. My favorite horse to ride there is Lightning. I'll make sure you get a turn with him, she offered. But I wasn't quite as excited as Rosa. I could tell she was being generous, but I had to shake my head seriously while I thought of an excuse. I'm allergic to most animals, I said. It sounded ridiculous, even as the words left my mouth, but it was actually true. My brother tried to keep a pet hamster in our room once, and I ended up sneezing and itching until we took it back to the pet shop. I didn't even want to think about what a horse might do to me. I managed to talk Rosa out of the horseback riding, but I wasn't as lucky with the rest of her plans. The cave Rosa was so excited about turned out to be damp and depressing. I tried to act like I was having a good time, but I didn't win any Oscar awards for my acting performance. I swam in the quarry, but I felt creeped out the whole time. When we got back to the house, I told Rosa to go riding without me. I think she would have done so, but her dad said, Rosa, you can ride next week. Cousin Ernesto is your guest. You need to find things to do with him while he's here. Rosa and I looked at each other. Hadn't we done it all, except the horseback riding, already? I'm pretty sure Rosa felt relieved when it was time for me to go back to Brooklyn. I know I did. I never realized what a rough life people live in the country.